When I wrote my first historical romance series, I had big dreams, way too much caffeine, and absolutely no clue what I was doing. I loved that first series. I still do, and honestly, it did fine. I found some great readers, made some sales, and felt the satisfaction of finishing a full series. But I sabotaged it. Not on purpose, just out of inexperience, overwhelm, and a dash of delusion. I made a bunch of rookie mistakes that capped my success before I had even gotten started. I made critical errors that cost me readers and royalties. In this video, I'm breaking down the top 3 costly errors and strategic blunders that I made alongside concrete examples and actual sales numbers. Because I want to give you a chance to learn from my mistakes and build your author career on a stronger foundation. If you're new here, hi, I'm romance author GS Carr. I make videos for writers who want to improve their craft, publish books, and learn from my mistakes because I have made plenty. If that sounds like your cup of tea, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. Okay, so let's get into it. Mistake number 1, passion versus the market. My first huge mistake was writing a story I was obsessed with without giving a single thought to who might actually buy it. I wrote the book of my heart, which is a beautiful thing to do, but I wrote it in a total vacuum. In my defense, when I first started publishing, I had no concept of the market or what it meant to treat my author career like a business. I just wanted to see my book in print and prayed that someone other than my mother would buy it. But if you want to be an author who makes money and builds a lasting career, don't do what I did. You can't ignore market fit. This is the tightrope that you must walk as an author, balancing your passion with a bit of pragmatism. You should absolutely write stories that you love. Your excitement is the engine that gets you through the process of writing. But you also need to understand what readers expect from your genre. This isn't about selling out, it's about connecting with people who are already looking for your work. So let's look at how I messed up. My very first book, The Cost of Hope, is a historical romance set in the American South during the Reconstruction era. Who the devil has heard of a Reconstruction era romance? Exactly, no one. When readers are looking for historical romance, they're thinking cowboys, mail order brides, Scottish Highlanders, or Regency, not a post-Civil War emotional journey in the South. I hadn't aimed my book at a clear, established audience. I basically had to convince people to give it a try. And when readers are scrolling through the digital shelves, they gravitate towards what's familiar. So here's the lesson. Find where what you love to write overlaps with what readers love to read. Before you start your next book, do a little market research. Figure out the core genre and tropes of your idea. Also, find out who are the big authors in that space. What do their reviews say? What do readers love about their books? And what are they complaining about? This isn't about copying them, it's about understanding the conversation that you're about to join. To show you how big a difference writing to market can make, let me show you some real numbers. My entire Cost of Love series, that's 3 books, has generated $9,163.34. My single book, Dina's Deception, which is a historical mail order bride romance, has made $8,145.16. Imagine if I had started with mail order brides from the beginning. And that's just writing in historical romance. If you're writing in a hotter market like romantasy or contemporary, the sales potential is even higher. It's way easier to sell readers on something that feels familiar but fresh than to convince them to try something completely out of left field, especially if you're just starting out. So pick your genre, choose 1 or 2 killer tropes, and nail the execution. You can build a whole career on that. On to the next mistake. My book covers. Your cover is your number 1 marketing tool. It's the silent salesperson that has to make a reader stop scrolling and say, what's that? My first cover? It was, well, let me just show you. Oh, and for context, Freedom of Love was the original title of The Cost of Hope, but I changed it. So I have no idea where I got this cover from or why I thought it would work. Maybe I was like, romance equals heart. I don't know. And I'm ashamed to say that I did try to make the covers for the next 2 books in the series. Ooh. For shame. Luckily, I eventually came to my senses and I recovered the entire series. And while it wasn't a miracle, the improvement in sales was immediate. Don't be like me. Budget for a professional cover from day one. It is the best money you will ever spend. Your cover is not an expense, it's an investment. It has to instantly communicate genre, tone, and story in a split second. So study the market, look at the bestsellers in your category. What font do they use? What imagery? What colors? Your book needs to look like it belongs on that virtual shelf. And here's a bit of a plot twist. I'm actually going to recover my series again, because even though they look better now, they still don't quite match the market. But we live and we learn. Speaking of learning, if you need help figuring out your genre's market and cover conventions, I highly recommend the K-Lytic genre reports. They are reports on many different popular genres like romance, even certain subgenres of romance like sports romance, fantasy romance, etc., as well as non-romance genres like sci-fi, fantasy, thrillers, etc., etc. They're packed with data on trends, KU versus wide stats, top covers, pricing, everything. I'll drop an affiliate link below. They are honestly a goldmine. Finally, mistake number 3. I had no launch plan. None. I hit publish and waited for the Amazon fairies to do their thing. And needless to say, they didn't. Amazon is a marketplace, not a megaphone. If you don't tell people that your book exists, the algorithm won't either. Publishing without a plan is like throwing a party and forgetting to send the invites. You end up in a decorated room all by yourself. In 2025, launching a book is about building resonance, especially if you're a no-name author without a big following. Algorithms are now interest-based. You're talking to cold audiences who don't know or even care about who you are. So the key isn't just hype, it's also connection. Here's the launch plan that I would follow today. About 4 weeks out, I'd start teasing the book, talking about the tropes, the characters, the vibes. Your goal is to create curiosity. You can create posts like these. If you love this trope, you'll love my heroine. Here's the moment my main character realized she was in love. POV, you're a jaded historical romance reader, but this might change your mind. Also, I'd set up a reader magnet, like a bonus scene or a free short story, to collect emails. Even if you only collect emails from about 25 people, that's way better than 0. When you get to about 3 weeks out, I'd shift to engagement. Behind the scenes content like struggles, inspiration, deleted scenes, and Q&As. And when people comment, I'd make sure that I replied to every single person like I'm trying to make friends. Readers are just your fellow humans, so treat them the way you'd want to be treated. When we get to about 2 weeks out, I'd start to build a little bit of hype. Do the cover reveal, post reels or carousels showing an emotional scene in your book, maybe even share a funny POV moment. And finally, when it's launch week, this is when you really start to lean in. I'd email my list at least twice, once on launch day with the buy link, and once later in the week with a thank you or some kind of fun bonus. Also, I'd post what I love about the story and celebrate the fact that you launched a book. And most importantly, I wouldn't go silent after launch. I'd keep talking about the book, answer questions, share reviews, create fresh ways to show people what the book is about, like character deep dives, aesthetic boards, or what to read if you like reading book X, and make sure that your book is in that list of recommendations. Remember, books don't launch in a day. They grow over time. Now, let me just say this, and I need you to hear it. Even if you follow this plan perfectly, there are no guarantees. You might not sell 10,000 copies your first week, especially if you're new. Publishing is not a quick hit moment. It's a long game. You're planting seeds, some sprout fast, others take time, but they won't grow at all if you stop showing up. And while you're showing up, talking about the first book, start working on book 2. Nothing sells book 1 like book 2, especially in a series. Your career isn't built on one launch week. It's built book by book, reader by reader. So if your launch feels quiet, don't panic, don't obsess, take a deep breath, celebrate, and then go back to work. Because even the best marketing can't compete with consistency in a growing backlist. So there you have it, the perfect storm of missed potential. A bad cover, no market awareness, and no launch plan. But honestly, those mistakes taught me everything. They were my trial by fire. It forced me to stop seeing myself as just a writer and start seeing myself as someone running a small business. The series that I'm working on now is written to market, but I still love the characters and the story. It'll be easier to sell and maybe help me pay a light bill or two. Well, That's all I have for this one. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you found this tour of my author blunders helpful, hit the subscribe button. I share everything I learn about writing and publishing to help you get to success faster than I did. We're all in this together, and there's no shame in learning. If you need help, check out this playlist next for tips that'll take your writing to the next level. And remember, your words show up because you do. So, happy writing.